What's hood, FSU family? Y'all already know who you turned in with. It's your boy, the Polk County Knoll, and it is National Signing Day. How did we do? Good, bad, indifferent? Let's talk about it. I am going to take a different approach on this video, and I'm not going to talk about the prospects that we signed today. Instead, I'm going to talk about every prospect we signed this class. And the reason I'm doing it in this manner, there's a split within the fan base right now on whether to be critical of this recruiting class or to be optimistic on this recruiting class. And I think it takes some perspective, and I'm going to try to be that level head to try to break down this class on whether or not we should be excited or disappointed, to be critical or optimistic. So before we get into each prospect, let me be clear. I am solid on this class. It's got some good players. It's got some project players. And it may have a player or two where you're like, I am not going to sit here and pretend like there wasn't any disappointment, but I'm also not going to sit here and be pessimistic and like, oh my God, we did so terrible. I've seen both. I think they did a good job with what they were given. And it wasn't a lot of time. And am I disappointed a little bit? I'm disappointed in one instance. But other than that, I am not going to cast blame upon Norvell and his staff for certain guys that we missed out on. I don't even give him 100% blame on a Malachi Wideman. And I'll go into more detail. Matter of fact, no, we'll talk about it now before I get into the prospects. The reason I don't give him 100% blame on the Wideman, it's pretty obvious that Malachi Wideman was a Willie Taggart guy. And I think after the firing, FSU burnt its bridge with Malachi Wideman. They did not like the way FSU treated Willie Taggart, and therefore he took every visit possible because in his mind he was looking for a college at that point. There's a reason why he went to Ole Miss and Tennessee and Oregon. He was never coming to Florida State after Taggart got fired. He even mentioned that he would be visiting FAU. He never was going to go to FAU, but he doesn't bring up FAU if it's not for Willie Taggart. And I think when you start talking about recruiting, right, there's three types of recruits. There's the dreamer. That's the kid that grew up a fan/fanatic. That's what a fan is. And he don't care who's coaching. He don't care the record of this program. He don't care the state of the program. He grew up a Florida State fan or Miami fan or Alabama fan. He's going to that school. There's that type of recruit. Then there's the recruit that makes that business decision, right? Perfect example would be a kid like a Dalvin Cook. I think Dalvin Cook at one point was committed to every school in Florida, including Clemson. Dalvin Cook even made it clear that when he officially signed with Florida State, he made a business decision. There are kids that realize, you know what? I'm trying to make millions of dollars in this game. I'm going to the school that best showcase my talents and gives me the best opportunity to make the league. And then there are kids based on relationships. There are kids who will stick through thick and thin because of a relationship with one person, with one coach. I think Wyman fell into that relationship. But I think Taggart had a chance to go to another Power 5 school, I almost guarantee you Wyman follows. Because he didn't. Wyman was too talented to ever go to FAU. He took all his visits and Tennessee was the fit. So nothing bad to say about Wyman. I just wanted to address that, and I don't want to give Norvell all the blame for that. Obviously, they met and they didn't kick it, or they didn't hit it off, right? And that's fine. That happens sometime. We'll move on. So that's my spill on the Weidman situation, and the only real kind of blemish I give on Norvell in terms of missing a recruit. I do not give Norvell any blame for Morvin Joseph. I think that's ridiculous if you do. Or Green, or Knighton. Like, none of those have anything to do in relationship with Norvell. So I think that's a bit of ridiculous. That's a ridiculous narrative to paint for those that are doing that. You bring up those instances, yet you fail to mention losing Sims, but then replacing Sims with a better quarterback. You traded 1 for 2. So you can't talk about your decommits and not talk about the guys you got. And that's what we're going to do here. I want to break down, because the fact is FSU signed a lot of 3-stars. There's no way around it. Overall, let me check real quick. I believe it's the 21st ranked class, 4th in the ACC. And so, yeah, we got a lot of 3-stars, man. There's no denying that. Overall, we signed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 4, 5, 25 overall players in the 2020 class. We have to have realistic expectations, right? And the fact is, not all these 3-stars are going to pan out. Let's just be real. Let's be honest. I hear a lot of people saying, I don't care about stars. They don't mean anything. I just give me guys that work hard. And that's cool. But to say stars don't mean anything is ridiculous. Now, they don't mean everything. I'm a firm believer that they don't mean everything. But to say they don't mean anything is ridiculous. You need guys. And we have, I think, some guys. But we have some projects. And we have some kids that may be dead weight. So let's talk about them. Let's see, honestly, I'm not too sure we got anybody that's dead weight. But you got some guys that may turn out to be bust. So let's talk about them. And let's start, of course, with quarterback. Again, I'm not talking about who we signed today. I'm just going with the overall breakdown of the entire class. And, of course, we all know we signed 2 quarterbacks. Mr. Chubba Purdy, 6'2", 210, ranked in the top 200, 4-star out of Arizona. And we signed Tate Rodemaker, 6'4", 190 out of Valdosta, Georgia. 3-star. Do I consider either guy a instant impact starter at quarterback? Yes. I think a Chubba Purdy, even though he's not an early enrollee, will get an opportunity. I think Rodemaker is an early enrollee, but I don't think he's an instant guy that will get instant playing time. He's probably going to take a red shirt and develop, and that's fine. I think you have a potential player in Chubba Purdy that make an instant impact. It's a deep quarterback room. We're talking James Blackman. We're talking Wyatt Rector. We're talking Jordan Travis. And we're talking the 2 guys that they signed. That's 5 deep. 3 of the 5 are going to be their tenured college players. So we'll see how that goes. Solid. I think I give the quarterback recruiting B+ to an A. I think that Chubba Purdy recruitment was amazing to me. That was like they recruited that kid for a week and they flipped him from Louisville. So I thought there was some good stuff going at the quarterback position, and you have at least one impact player there, I believe, in Chubba Purdy. As far as instant impact. I think both guys could turn out to be good college quarterbacks, depending on development and all that good stuff. Let's go to the running back position. We sign at a Pinellas Park, Florida. Largo, Florida, excuse me, went to Pinellas Park. 6 foot, 180 pound. Top 250 player nationally, Lawrence Toafili. We sign out of New Orleans, Louisiana, John Curtis, 5'9", 170. Corey Wren runs 10, 2, and 100. Finished as a 4-star. And we signed LaDainian Webb, running back out of Mississippi. JUCO was the 4th JUCO running back, 58 JUCO overall player. LaDainian Webb. Those are the 3 running backs you bring into this class. I think all 3. So if there's one position, I'll give them a B plus or A plus on the running back room as well. I think all 3 guys have a legit chance to get playing time next year. Norvell raves about LaDainian Webb. He sees something in Webb that tells me that dude's going to play next year. If you look at what we have on the roster, Anthony Grant, Kalen LeBourne. I think LeBourne's a factor. I'll be honest with you. Anthony Grant might be the worst of all the backs, including the 3 true freshmen. Webb's going to get playing time. Wren's too fast not to get playing time. And Toafili, I just believe, is going to get playing time because I'm a fan of his, and I think he's a really good running back. I can see all 3 guys get playing time, and I can see Anthony Grant being pushed to the back of that depth chart. And as far as Kalen LeBourne goes, I think he's a legit factor if he's healthy. With his track record, he's probably, will he stay healthy? We don't know. And then you got Jay Sean Corbin. That's another guy. He has to still get cleared to play. He has to still get his waiver and see if he's even eligible to play next year. On a quick note, Norvell in his press conference referred to Ja'Kai Douglas as a running back or a guy that they're going to use in that mold. 5'9", 187 pounds. Another kid out of Louisiana. That's interesting to me. That's a lot of speed. So I saw this stat. I think it was on Knowles. It was a verified Knowles site. I can't remember the site. My apologies. Had Ja'Kai Douglas played this past year, he would have ranked about the 4th fastest player in all of college football. That is impressive. If they use him as a Percy Harvin-esque, I think you got 2 guys in Douglas and Wren that you're gonna use. They're gonna use in multiple ways, and he's a wide receiver / running back, according to Coach Norvell. Speaking of wide receivers, let's get to Brian Robinson out of Palm Beach, 6'1", 185. Best wide receiver you signed. Oh, by the way, I did give the running backs another. I'm going to go B. I'm going to go B on the running backs. B. Wide receiver, Brian Robinson. 6'1", 185, Palm Beach. We just talked about Ja'Kai Douglas out of Louisiana. Kentron Portier out of Palmetto, Miami, Florida. Rivals has him listed, the 247 has him listed at 6'3". I've seen him listed as high as 6'5". So he's between 6'3 and 6'5". He's 200 pounds. And then you have, finally, is Darian Wilson, 6'3", 180 out of Tennessee. So let's get it. Let's get cracking on these receivers. I think you have 2 guys that's going to contribute off the bat, and Brian Robinson and Ja'Kai Douglas. After that, I think there is a big dip. I think Portier and I think Mr. Williamson quick note: Williamson suffered I think, an ACL in his senior year, so he's coming off and he's rehabbing an injury. So I don't expect to see him at all next year. And with the numbers they have at receiver, it probably would be smart to redshirt him anyway. As for Portier, big body, but that's a guy that needs to define his skills, learn his technique. Those two guys don't need, both 3 stars, by the way. Neither guy will see the field next year. I think your 2 4-stars do. So as of right now, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys that I think can make an instant, that can see playing time next year. As we go to tight end, we signed 2 tight ends. Carter Boatwright, 6'4", 227, out of Georgia. And, of course, Mr. Marquise Douglas, 6'4", /6'5", 255 out of Tennessee. Neither guy's going to get any impact next year. You're not going to see anything from either guy next year, in my opinion. Both guys are project players. Carter Boatwright, too small as of right now at 6'4", 227. You got to fill his body out. Douglas has the size, but he's only played 1 year of organized football. He is a basketball player. Those guys usually translate very well, but he might need a year or two. I'm not too sure you're going to see either guy next year. I know FSU's still in the running to grab at least one grad transfer for tight end. So you probably won't see either guy next year if I had to guess. Now let's go to the offensive line. I'm just going to be honest with you off the bat. There's not one, maybe one, and that's Robert Scott, the highest rated offensive lineman we got out of Arkansas. 3-star, 6'5", 305, has the body, has the size to compete right away. The question is, does he have the strength, the aggressiveness, the technique? We'll see. Next up is Thomas Schrader. They have him listed as a center at Venice. You most likely won't see him next year. Zane Herring out of Madison County, 6'5", 300. Guard. You're not going to see him next year. Lloyd Willis out of Miami. Tackle, 6'7", 310, big body. These are a bunch of raw prospects at the offensive line that I don't expect any contributions from next year. If anything, if Norvell swears up and down that Robert Scott is better than what people think, that the reason he's ranked as low as he is he didn't do all the camps and stuff that these other guys do. He wasn't interested in that. And it's possible that may be the case. He's the only person that I could potentially see, going to have any impact next year. But I don't see any impact from any offensive lineman we signed. I'm glad we got the bodies. I like the bodies we got. We got a bunch of tall kids that can fill out. We didn't get anybody under 6'5". Robert Scott, 6'5". Schrader, 6'5". Zane Herring, 6'5". Lloyd Willis, 6'7". We didn't get one offensive lineman under 6'5", so we got some big boys. But they're going to need to develop. They're going to need to learn the position. They're going to need to get stronger, lose some baby fat, redefine their bodies. It's going to take a while. It's going to take a while for those guys to get on the field, in my opinion. Next up, let's go to defensive end. We signed two defensive ends. First off, out of IMG, Josh Griffiths, a guy that Odell has compared to Bjorn Warner. It's interesting with the two defensive ends. So with Griffiths and Mr. T.J. Davis, they're going to have a chance. I don't think either one, in normal circumstances, you want to see play year one. I think both of them need some development, coaching, and all that good stuff. But FSU isn't exactly deep on the defensive end, and they're not deep at the pass, like a legit weak side pass rusher. They don't have that guy that can. They got Janoris Robinson and they got Kando. Well, Kando ain't lived up to the hype, so we don't really know what he is yet. Janoris Robinson isn't really a pass rusher. So who do you got? I'm not not sure we got anybody. Those guys may get an opportunity, but I don't expect much from either player. If we go to defensive tackle, we only signed one. That's Mr. Where is he? Emmanuel Rogers, 6'5", 229, huge body. Me personally, I think you're going to see him. I think he's too big and athletic to not get on the field next year. You might not see him game 1, but by game 3, 4, 5, he'll be in the rotation with Marv, Durden, True Thompson, and Coop. You're going to need probably another body in there you want to get in there. I think Mr. Emmanuel Rogers will have a chance to make an impact next year. He's a 4-star, so he's a legit prospect. Then we go to let's go inside linebacker. That's hard for me for whatever reason. I always have a problem pronouncing his name. Jayon, because I think the Y messes me up. Jayon McCluster at a Largo, 6'1", 206, 3-star. Yeah, don't think you're going to see much. I think FSU's pretty set. I mean, middle linebacker, you're going to have, you still got Leonard Warner. You still got Jaleel McCray. I'm probably forgetting some other guys. I don't think you're going to see much from Jayon McCluster. But the top, I said, and then you have DJ Lundy. I'm not as high on DJ Lundy as a lot of people, but his size is impressive. Rivals has him listed at 6'1", 244. Holy. A lot of people think he's a sleeper prospect. Norvell swears he's going to compete from day one. I'll be interested to see it. I'm not as high on Lundy as a lot of people, but that's just my opinion. Me personally, don't think you're going to see him year 1. He might need a year or 2. You got DJ Lundy. Those are your 2 inside linebackers. Outside linebacker, I already said Jayon, excuse me. It's inside. Steven Dix, early enrollee, on campus right now. Legit 4-star. Norvell's been raving about Steven Dix. He's played out of Orlando, plays violent, plays rough. Hey, good stuff right there. I think you would definitely have a chance to see as Steven Dix play. Basically, as I break it down, to be honest with you, all of your 4-stars are going to have a potential to see the field next year. Okay? The guys that I don't see, so let's finish it off before we jump ahead. At corner, Demore Tate, legit 5-star, top 30 player nationally, 4th at his position, 6th player in the state, out of Orlando, 6'1", 189. He's got the length, he's got the size, he's got the speed. Demore Tate's going to compete for a starting spot next year on that secondary. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if you see Akeem Dent, Demore Tate, and Asante Samuel as your 3 corners. Safety, Hamza and Woodbay. You could see a Travis J fit in there somewhere. There's a ton of talent, a ton of possibilities. But I think Demore Tate is going to compete day 1. Next at safety, Darius Green McKnight, 5'11", 204. Got a stout thumper. Again, I think the safety position is pretty set with Nazeldine coming back and Woodbay moving back to his natural position. But you always need rotation, guys. Injuries can definitely happen. McKnight might have a shot, at least on special teams. Or you can move McKnight. Maybe they move him to that star position, that safety linebacker hybrid. There's a chance for McKnight to definitely compete day 1. And then Sidney Williams out of Alabama, 6. I've seen him listed at 6'3", 200. Rivals has him at 6'1", 200. Either way, you're talking about a long, lanky safety with a frame to fill out. I personally am high on this kid. Not as an instant starter. No, I do not think you'll see him as an instant starter. I think he's a project player. But I think he's a player that if everything can kind of go right, you've got a chance to have a real sleeper here in Sidney Williams. I'm high on him, but you might not see him for a year or 2. And then that's it. Oh, and excuse me, Alex Mastronomano, punter. You pretty much would probably see him next year. FSU's punting game was not good. He'll probably be a freshman coming in there and get the starting job. So we did all of that. I did all of that to basically put it into some perspective on what you see, who has a chance to play, who doesn't have to play. Your 4 stars are legit, in my opinion. Demore Tate, Brian Robinson, Chuba Purdy, McKnight, Total Feely, Dix, Ja'Kai Douglas, Emmanuel Rogers, and Corey Wren. I think all of those guys are going to see the field next year. After that, it's the 3 stars that everybody's like, the stars don't matter. Look, let's be honest. Portier, no. McCluster, probably not. Scott has a chance just because the offensive line is so bad. Sidney Williams, no. Griffiths, probably not. We need somebody to emerge. I don't think he's the guy. I don't think he's going to be the guy to emerge. Schrader, no. Again, but it's on the offensive line. I would say every position on the O line is up for grabs. Rodemaker, no. Williamson, no. Herring, again, offensive line. LaDainian Webb is the only guy. He's considered a 3-star, but he's a Jugo guy, and Norvell is high on him. He will seize the ball. Boatwright, no. Lundy, he says Lundy has a shot. Okay, we'll see. We'll see. Lundy can prove me wrong, but, this is a guy who barely cracked the top 1,000 players in the nation. I'm just not high on him, but we'll see. Lloyd Willis, again, because of the position he plays, has a chance, and he's huge, 6'7", 310. But no, T.J. Davis, no. Douglas, no. So, you got to make with it what you want, Seminole fans. I don't believe you're going to see a bunch of 3-stars running on the field next year winning games. You're going to have a healthy mix. You're going to have a lot of project players in this class. But that doesn't mean we can be overly pessimistic on the class and want to be so critical. I'm not going to be critical on Mike Norvell. I think he did some really good things with the time that he was allotted. And what I do like about the guys he brought in, I think everybody he brought in has a huge potential. What I mean by that, I just mean physically. I mean, his project players, right? So he didn't bring in, so for instance, he brings in Darian Williamson at wide receiver, 3-star. Again, that's a project player. But he didn't bring in some 5'8", 3-star. He brought in a guy that's 6'3", 180. Big ceiling, right? Has a chance to really develop into something. Same thing with Portier. He didn't bring in some small receiver. That's a 6'5", 200-pound receiver. You can build something there. Sidney Williams. He didn't bring in, a 3-star, 5'10", 180-pound safety. No, he brought in a 6'3", 200-pound safety. I like when you legit athletes with size and speed. I think he did a good job at that. There's a healthy mix of that. We got to be patient, Seminole fans. I think we have a solid class. Again, I'm solid on the class. I'm not overly high on it. I am not super down on it. I'm mad. I'm upset that we missed on Wyman, but you know what? Those type of things happen. Wyman didn't want to be here after his coach got fired. I understand it. You move on. You go forward. There's a lot of good things going on in the future, I think, for this program. I think Norvell has been impressive in his recruiting. They've already signed a 4-star / 3-star. Again, all these rankings depend on what site you visit. The composite has the newest quarterback, a 3-star. Rivals has him as a 4-star. And his name is, I forgot his name off the top of my head, damn it. I got it right here. Is it Luke Altmaier, right? I didn't even get to see it. But I think it's Luke Altmaier is his name. Yep, Luke Altmaier out of Starksville. He has signed, he committed to Florida State. 3-star. By some, others have him a 4-star. So there you go. Luke Altmaier. Joshua Farmer also committed this past weekend. Defensive end out of Florida. Be on the lookout, man. Be on the lookout for Brandon Jennings. Hold on. Brandon Jennings, 4th overall linebacker. He commits, I think, at the end of this week. Everybody's kind of penciling him into Florida State. There's some dudes out there the next year that they have a big chance of landing. Florida State is going to be fine as long as we put the right product on the football field. But hey, as far as talking about this recruiting class, man, that's it. Ain't nothing spectacular about it. There's no glitz and glamour about it. It's just solid. It's a building block for what Norvell's trying to build. And you could be on board or you cannot be. That's just the way I kind of look at it. Me, again, I'm solid on it. There's some guys that I like, some guys that I'm not so high on. I see the projects. I see the potential in some of these guys. I'm okay with it. You had to make do with what you had and then in the time you had. And I thought he did a good job. I'm just happy we got 2 quarterbacks in the class. I'm happy he filled out the running back room. I'm glad he added like elite speed, guys with elite size. We got numbers on the offensive line. So somebody's at least got to develop and prove something eventually, right? I'm not happy with the defensive tackle recruiting at all. But you're not going to get the elite guys when you're playing the way you're playing. At Marv, I think a guy like Marvin Wilson comes out and Corey Durden has these big seasons next year. Yeah, I think you'll see that recruiting pick back up to what we're kind of used to under Coach Hagan's. Not happy with the defensive end recruiting, but Florida State couldn't rush the passer last year, so that makes some sense, right? You're still getting the top DBs in the nation because you're DBU. We got some solid backers. We're building. We're building. This is going to be a process, Florida State fans. We just got to stay on board, not get too high, not have unreal expectations. That's what I'm here for, to give you some realistic, level-headed views, in my opinion. It's just, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that every 3-star is going to turn into the next J.J. Watt or Xavier Rhodes. Like, those are notable 3-stars. That's not factual, right? That's not factual, but you got some guys that may have some, you may have some sleepers. You may have some guys that can develop into something, but give them time to develop because you're not going to see instant impact. This isn't that type of class. But this was your National Signing Day. We're kind of recruiting breakdown, man. I wanted to get this out there. I do not expect to do a Saturday Night Live this Saturday. Schedule's too hectic with work. I'll be working Saturday. So, might try to get one more video out on the week. Yeah. So don't expect Saturday Night Live. I know we usually have a good time on there, but that will be back, just not this weekend. But again, if you like it, if you like what I give you guys, if you're a returner, hit that like button. If you're new, subscribe and hit that like button. If you like what you hear, share it with your friends. Comment on the page. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Hey, I appreciate you once again for turning in to the Polk County Knoll, giving you my opinion. And this has been your National Signing Day 2020 recruit breakdown. Have some patience, Seminoles. Okay? Have some patience. We're not there yet. This isn't the greatest class in the world, but this ain't the worst either. We got some building blocks here. We got some players. We got some projects. Just stay classy, Seminoles, man. And thank you for tuning in. You guys have a great rest of your day.